Dontaesboxingnation.
Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? So I never knew that Jamel Herring was going around wearing Mexican flags and waving the Mexican flag just to cater to Mexican fans, until many people started to send me these images of him. Now, before I get even deeper into this, let me go ahead and explain the whole situation. So Jamel Herring has threatened to sue Southpaw because he made a video talking about Jamel Herring rocking Mexican flags while fighting for his country as a Black American, and because Southpaw called him a former alcoholic, because Jamel Herring actually said this.
Was just heavily drinking and everything.
Let me just make this very clear, guys. You cannot win a lawsuit playing semantics. You also can't go around suing people because they hurt your feelings. You can't tell the public there was a time in your life when you were just drinking heavily and then try to sue someone for defamation of character because they called you an alcoholic. Just like you can't sue someone for calling you a crackhead after you just did an interview and said I was doing crack at least 2 or 3 times a week. Now, Jamel Herring, he responded to Southpaw saying, okay, you want to make fun of me when it comes to me drinking heavily because of my PTSD. It is a fact that some people have become drug addicts or alcoholics due to post-traumatic stress disorder. So if someone calls you an alcoholic, they're not telling people what drove you to become an alcoholic. They're calling you an alcoholic because of you telling people how much you were drinking alcohol at one point in your life. Jamel is also threatening to sue Southpaw because he says that Southpaw is accusing him of being disloyal to his country for rocking the Mexican flag, despite the fact that he's all American and fought for the United States. So listen, when Jamel Herring, when he blames drinking heavily on PTSD, is he also blaming rocking the Mexican flag on PTSD? Is he saying the post-trauma confused him and that's what's got him wearing a Mexican flag right now? Because once again, he already said it was the PTSD that caused him to drink heavily, which I don't deny. These are things that are completely subjective. If you're a Black American that's walking around with a Mexican flag and some other American calls you a sellout or a traitor, that's not worthy of a lawsuit. He's trying to accuse Southpaw of intentionally causing harm or damage to Jamel Herring's reputation. But Jamel Herring is doing that to himself. He's ruining his own reputation. That's like Kanye West trying to sue people for calling him a sellout for wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. Kanye West don't need no help. He's doing a great job of damaging his reputation. Now, something else that needs to be mentioned when it comes to Jamel Herring. You guys may recall, Jamel, he used to train with Terrence Crawford. They had the same trainer training at the same gym, on the same team, basically. And Herring was surprisingly kicked out of McIntyre's camp. That is something that rarely happens in the sport of boxing because usually it's the fighter that leaves the trainer. The trainer doesn't usually leave the fighter. Well, it turns out, according to Terrence Crawford's team, when Jamel Herring found out that Terrence Crawford was suing Bob Arum for racial bias, Jamel Herring, he reached out to top-ranked staff and he said to them, I can't believe Terrence Crawford is suing you guys for racism. You guys are not racist at all. You guys treat me very well. This is pretty much what he said. This got back to Terrence Crawford, and that's the reason why Jamel Herring was kicked out of the camp. Now, just a side note, do you guys remember when Oscar Valdez knocked out Burchell and Shakur was at that fight ringside calling out Oscar Valdez as Valdez was doing his post-fight interview? Well, despite the fact that Shakur Stevenson had already been calling out Valdez for 2 years through 2 different weight classes, right after Oscar Valdez knocked out Burchell, Bob Arum, he came out and he said he would like to make Shakur Stevenson versus Burchell instead of Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. Bob wanted to put Shakur Stevenson in there against the loser, and he wanted to match Oscar Valdez with Emmanuel Navarrete. Well, Jamel had a conversation with Aki TV. They were having this conversation on a boxing website comment section. And he was telling Aki, he said, I don't understand why they would do that. That makes no sense. Why would they put Shakur against the loser? He said, I should be fighting against Burchell, and they should be matching Shakur Stevenson against Oscar Valdez. Keep in mind, just in case you guys forgot the timeline, this was Jamel Herring saying this after he lost to Shakur Stevenson. So once again, he's saying the two guys that lost should be fighting against each other, and the two guys that won should be fighting against each other. This is how it works in every sport, right? The two winning teams, they advance in the playoffs. So clearly Jamel Herring, he was aware of the racial double standards that were taking place. Just like Jamel Herring noticed that when Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez was announced, Bob Arum, he didn't even do a press conference. And when they had their press conference the week of the fight, Bob Arum, he refused to promote the fight by leaving the stage right before Shakur Stevenson arrived. Now, just understand this when it comes to rocking the Mexican flag and being a Black American who also fought for his country. It would be more understandable if it was someone like Gennady Golovkin that was repping the Mexican flag. Why? Because Mexican fans, they loved Golovkin. Matter of fact, I remember when Golovkin was fighting a Mexican fighter straight from Mexico, Marco Antonio Rubio. When they introduced both fighters, believe it or not, the Mexican fans actually booed the Mexican fighter just to cheer for Gennady Golovkin. They also had Mexican flags in the stands with Gennady Golovkin's name on the flag. You know what makes this whole situation so ironic is Mexican fans, they love a lot of boxers that just are not Black. Manny Pacquiao comes to mind. Mexican fans, they love Manny Pacquiao. In fact, I remember talking to Floyd Mayweather's bodyguard, and he was telling me how when Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao, there were Mexicans in the crowd. They were so angry, they were damn near trying to start fights after the fight because Manny Pacquiao lost. There was no Filipinos trying to start fights, but there were some Mexicans in the crowd that were willing to fight for Manny Pacquiao's honor. Now, of course, it was just a combination of them also just being so upset that Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao, and they knew what that meant. But these Mexican fans were still huge Manny Pacquiao fans. I remember I threw a fight party way before, I was even doing YouTube, when Manny Pacquiao, when he fought Tim Bradley. And the gym that my son trained at, it was ran by a Filipino guy from Hawaii. So, they all came over and brought food, and, we had this big, huge fight party with a whole bunch of people in the house, right? And when Tim Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao, I remember with all the Filipinos in the house, the only guy that was irate, that was super pissed off, going back and forth, man, this is BS, was the one Mexican guy that was at the fight party. None of the Filipinos, they were upset, they were sad, but they were quiet. But this one Mexican guy, he was completely distraught. He was acting like he just seen Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime get knocked out flat. This guy was completely devastated. When it comes to Lomachenko, Mexican fans, they love Lomachenko. Mexican fans will praise Lomachenko more than they will praise a Mexican fighter. But notice, even with all of the love Manny Pacquiao and Lomachenko received from Mexican fans, you never seen these fighters wearing a Mexican flag. And my point is, if they decided to wear a Mexican flag, it would actually make more sense because they are loved so much by the Mexican fan. So look, at the end of the day, Jamel Herring, he can rock whatever flag he wants to. He can beg for acceptance for as long as he wants, from Mexico or any other country. But if you do that, you have to accept the fact that there's a good chance you may lose a lot of American fans' respect because the perception may be you are damaging and harming your own reputation. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodkey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.